We all know a millionaire whose credit card gets declined at Taco Bell. From influencers caught in fake private jets to rented supercars that won't start, the desperate need to impress strangers always ends in disaster. Here are 101 brutal reality checks where huge egos were destroyed instantly. 1. A guy in South Beach spent 20 minutes leaning against a neon green McLaren, filming a video about hard work and hustle. He was midway through his speech when the 60-year-old owner walked out of a bakery, unlocked the car, and politely asked the influencer to get his butt off the paint. 2. There is a special kind of silence that happens when a metal credit card gets declined on a first date. This guy made a show of tossing his heavy card onto the check, looking smug. The waiter came back 3 minutes later and asked loudly if he had another form of payment because the bank said to confiscate that one. 3. Instagram models love renting that one studio in Los Angeles that is built to look like the inside of a private jet. One girl got exposed brilliantly when she posted a photo gazing out the window at the clouds. Too bad the reflection in her sunglasses clearly showed the studio lighting rig and a dirty concrete floor. 4. A woman at a high-end gala was walking around like she owned the place, criticizing everyone else's outfits. Karma struck instantly when she raised her arm to wave at a waiter. A giant red clearance tag from a discount store popped out from her dress, proving she planned to return it the next morning. 5. A self-proclaimed crypto genius was live-streaming from his parents' basement, claiming he just bought a private island. His tough guy image crumbled when his mom opened the door behind him in her bathrobe. She did not ask about the island, she just yelled at him to take out the trash before his father got home. 6. Nothing is sadder than VIP bottle service getting revoked. A group of guys ordered 5 bottles of champagne, and the staff brought them out with sparklers blazing. Then, the credit card failed. The security team literally blew out the sparklers like birthday candles and carried the full bottles back to the bar while everyone watched. 7. A man in the suburbs was famously arrogant about his brand new luxury SUV, washing it in the driveway every single Saturday. He was out there with the hose when the repo truck backed in. He tried to block them with his body, but the bank had the spare key. They towed it away, soapy, wet, and humiliated. 8. Wearing a fake Rolex to a watch convention is like bringing a water gun to a war zone. One guy kept flashing his gold timepiece until a collector grabbed his wrist. He pointed out that the second hand was ticking loudly instead of sweeping smoothly. The guy suddenly remembered he had a very urgent phone call outside. 9. A couple posted a photo in front of a stunning mansion with the caption "sold" and hashtags about new beginnings. The actual real estate agent saw the post and commented immediately. She clarified that while they did take a nice picture on the sidewalk, the house had actually been sold to a retired dentist named Gary. 10. You have seen those guys fanning out a stack of cash to look rich. One genius tried this at a car dealership to prove he could pay cash. He dropped the stack, and it scattered across the floor. It was a single $100 bill wrapped around a thick bundle of $1 bills. The salesman just started laughing. 11. A young guy pulled up to a fancy hotel valet in a bright yellow rented exotic, tossing the keys to the attendant with pure arrogance. The valet hopped in, but the engine stayed silent. It turned out the rental company had remotely killed the ignition because the credit card on file for the security deposit had just bounced hard. 12. Painting the soles of cheap heels with red nail polish is a classic budget hack to mimic Christian Louboutins. One aspiring socialite learned the hard way why you need to let the paint dry completely. She left tacky red footprints all over a pristine white carpet at a gallery opening, and the host publicly handed her the cleaning bill. 13. At a Michelin star restaurant, a man made a massive scene sending back a bottle of expensive wine, loudly claiming it was corked and tasted like vinegar. The sommelier stared at him with zero emotion and gently pointed out that the bottle actually had a screw-top cap. The entire dining room went dead silent as he poured his own glass. 14. We all know the guy who tries to skip the long nightclub line by shouting that he is best friends with the owner. One bouncer got tired of it and handed the guy his phone, saying, "Call him." The guy dialed a random number and pretended to talk, until the bouncer revealed that he actually owns the club. 15. An influencer sneakily sat in an empty first-class seat before takeoff, just to snap a champagne selfie for her story. She was getting the perfect angle when a flight attendant loudly asked to see her boarding pass. She had to do the humiliating walk of shame all the way back to row 42 near the toilets while everyone stared. 16. A man spent the whole pool party bragging about his heavy gold chain, claiming it cost more than a mid-sized sedan. He fell asleep on a lounge chair, and the humidity did its work. When he woke up, he had a bright green ring stained around his neck, proving his solid gold was actually just copper spray paint. 17. There is an art to pretending to fight for the dinner check while secretly praying someone else pays. One guy was way too convincing. He shouted that he was treating everyone, and his friends finally said, "Okay, thanks." The blood drained from his face as he slowly reached for a leather wallet that he knew was absolutely empty. 18. Putting a Ferrari body kit on an old Pontiac Fiero might fool people from a distance, but not up close. One owner tried to rev his engine at a stoplight to impress a girl in the next lane. Instead of a V12 roar, the car made a sad, rattling four-cylinder wheeze and immediately overheated, spewing steam everywhere. 19. A shopper walked into a luxury boutique and demanded they close the store for her private shopping spree. The manager actually agreed. After an hour of trying things on, she went to pay, and her card was declined for a $10 pair of socks. They reopened the doors while she was still frantically packing her purse. 20. Wearing fake designer electronics is risky business. A guy was showing off his new expensive noise-canceling headphones on the subway, nodding to the beat. Suddenly, the music stopped, and a robotic voice announced, "The Bluetooth device is ready to pair," in a very broken, heavy accent. Everyone looked up, and he slowly slid them into his pocket. 21. A fitness guru was recording a workout video, bench pressing 400 pounds with absolute ease. He was grunting and screaming for effect. Then he lost his balance, and one of the massive metal plates fell off the bar. It bounced off the floor like a basketball because it was made of painted styrofoam. 22. A man in a coffee shop was shouting into his phone about a multi-million-dollar merger, clearly wanting an audience for his business prowess. He was in the middle of firing his imaginary assistant when his phone actually rang loudly in his hand. It was his mom asking if he needed a ride to his entry-level job interview. 23. This guy made a huge production of telling the bartender to keep the change, acting like a benevolent billionaire spreading the wealth. The bartender looked at the bill and then at the cash on the counter. The change was exactly 14 cents. The bartender picked up the coins and dropped them right back into the guy's drink. 24. Inviting people over to see your original art collection is a bold move if you bought it at a box store. One host was explaining the deep meaning behind an abstract painting he claimed cost 10 grand. A guest leaned in for a closer look and pointed out the IKEA price sticker was still stuck to the back of the frame. 25. Buying a vintage sports car implies you actually know how to drive it. One guy bought a classic manual Porsche to impress his neighbors. He stalled it 6 times trying to leave his driveway. The 7th time, he lurched forward and tapped his wife's minivan. He had to push it back into the garage in neutral while they watched. 26. A guy at a bar was trying to impress a girl by flashing the edge of a black card in his wallet, implying it was an exclusive Amex Centurion. She asked to see it closer. He hesitated, then revealed it was actually just his executive membership card for Costco. The free samples are great, but it is not quite the same flex. 27. At a charity auction, a man kept raising his paddle to drive up the price, assuming someone else would definitely outbid him. The auctioneer suddenly yelled, "Sold!" The room cheered, but the man turned pale. He had to explain to the organizers that he did not actually have $20,000 for a wine-tasting trip to Tuscany. 28. LinkedIn is a goldmine for fake titles and inflated egos. One entry-level intern listed himself as the CEO of a media empire on his profile. His actual boss saw it and commented publicly on the status, asking the new CEO if he was still planning to bring everyone coffee for the morning meeting, or if he was too busy. 29. A local rapper was filming a music video in a jewelry store, flexing his massive diamond chains for the camera. The store owner decided to have some fun and touched a diamond tester pen to the necklace. The machine made a loud, angry buzzing noise, indicating glass. The rapper tried to claim it was just a stylistic choice. 30. There is nothing wrong with using a coupon, unless you are pretending you own the restaurant. A guy tried to slide a discount voucher to the waiter secretly like it was a $100 tip. The waiter did not catch the vibe and loudly asked the whole table if this was for the 2-for-1 appetizer deal before applying it. 31. A guy walked into a high-end nightclub wearing a belt with a Gucci buckle the size of a dinner plate. He felt like a total king until the bouncer pointed out that the double G logo was facing the wrong way. It turns out he bought a Gucci belt from a street vendor and hoped the strobe lights would hide the typo. 32. An influencer posted a video pouring expensive vodka into his friends' mouths at a house party to look wild. One friend spit it out immediately, not because it was strong, but because it was warm tap water. He had been refilling the same Grey Goose bottle for 3 years just to maintain his party animal reputation. 33. A guy installed a cheap turbo whistle in his exhaust pipe to make his old sedan sound like a high-performance race car. He revved it hard at a stoplight to impress a pedestrian. Instead of a cool turbo sound, the metal whistle shot out of the tailpipe like a bullet and clattered down the road like a sad tin can. 34. Sneaking into the business class lounge at the airport is a sport for some people. One traveler tailored his suit just to look the part and walked in with total confidence. He was enjoying the free buffet until the receptionist announced over the loudspeaker that the passenger with the economy saver ticket needed to leave before they called security. 35. A girl posted a selfie lying on the deck of a massive yacht captioned, "My Happy Place." She forgot to crop out the actual owner in the background, who was scrubbing the deck. He commented on the post saying, "Get off my boat, I thought you were just delivering the Uber Eats order." 36. You can usually spot fake AirPods because they are slightly too big for the ear. But one guy gave it away completely on the bus. His Apple headphones started flashing bright blue and red lights like a police car every time the song changed. The real ones definitely do not turn your head into a disco ball. 37. The "I forgot my wallet in the other car" excuse is a classic maneuver to get out of paying. One guy tried this after eating a $100 steak. His date stared him dead in the eye and said, "That is fine. I saw you pay for parking with Apple Pay on your phone 5 minutes ago." 38. People even try to fake having expensive pets. A woman bought a rare apricot poodle for a bargain price online. She was walking it in the rain to show off to the neighborhood when the apricot color started washing off into the gutter. It was just a regular white dog covered in cheap hair dye. 39. Trying to impress a client, a businessman insisted on ordering in French at a fancy bistro. He confidently pointed to an item and spoke absolute gibberish. The waiter, who was actually from Paris, replied in perfect English that the gentleman had just ordered the "Please wash your hands" sign from the bottom of the page. 40. Driving a convertible in the winter says you are tough, but driving one in the rain says you are broke. A guy in a jagged old luxury convertible was stuck at a light during a downpour. The roof mechanism was broken, so he had to hold a golf umbrella out the window while soaking his leather seats. 41. Streetwear hype is out of control, but spelling still matters. A teenager walked into school wearing a Supreme Box logo hoodie that he claimed cost $500. He got roasted immediately because the logo was printed in Comic Sans font and actually said "Super Me." He spent the rest of the day in his gym shirt. 42. A freelancer at a co-working space was loudly dictating emails to his personal assistant named Sarah. He was really selling the busy executive vibe until his laptop disconnected from the Bluetooth speaker. Everyone heard the robotic voice of Siri say, "I am sorry, I did not catch that," instead of a real person. 43. Pulling up to the front of a swanky club is a power move, unless you drive a 2004 minivan. A guy tried to toss his keys to the doorman, expecting VIP treatment. The doorman caught the keys, looked at the rusted bumper, and politely told him the food delivery entrance was around the back near the dumpsters. 44. The art of sabering a champagne bottle is reserved for experts. One party host grabbed a kitchen knife to slice the top off a bottle of Prosecco to impress the guests. Instead of a clean cut, the entire bottle shattered in his hand, spraying cheap wine and glass shards all over his friend's expensive outfits. 45. Those chunky designer sneakers are heavy, but they are supposed to be durable. A guy was strutting down the street in a knockoff pair when the entire triple-stacked sole delaminated and flapped open like a hungry alligator. He had to drag his foot for 3 blocks to get to a shoe repair shop while people filmed him. 46. Following the gold steak trend, a guy tried to recreate the experience for a date at home. He bought edible gold leaf from a craft store. When he served the steak, the ceiling fan blew the gold off the meat and onto his sweaty forehead. He spent the whole date looking like a budget gilded statue. 47. Calling your Uber driver. My chauffeur is a risky game. A woman was bragging to her friends that her private driver was picking her up in a black sedan. The car pulled up, and the driver rolled down the window and yelled, "I have a ride for Sparkle 77 going to the bus station." 48. Buying Instagram followers is cheap, but buying engagement is expensive. An influencer with 200,000 followers hosted a meet and greet at a local mall. She set up a velvet rope and a backdrop. The only person who stopped by was a security guard telling her she could not block the fire exit. 49. Smoking a cigar makes you look like a boss, unless you inhale. A young guy lit up a massive Cuban cigar at a bachelor party to look seasoned. He took a huge drag, turned green, and spent the next 20 minutes coughing his lungs out in the bushes while the groom held his hair back. 50. Walking past the hostess to sit at the best table by the window is a power move that rarely works. A couple sat down and started taking photos of the view. The manager arrived 30 seconds later and made them move to a wobbly table next to the swinging kitchen doors in the bathroom. 51. We have all seen the guys who put M badges on their standard BMWs to trick people into thinking it is the high-performance model. One driver arrived at a car meet and popped his hood to show off the engine. The crowd burst into laughter when they saw a tiny plastic-covered 4-cylinder engine instead of the massive twin-turbo beast that belongs there. 52. A guy shouted at the bouncer that he was on the VIP list and demanded entry. The bouncer checked the clipboard for a solid minute, looked up, and said loudly, "The only list we have tonight is for the staff potluck, and unless you brought potato salad, you aren't getting in." 53. Proposing with a massive diamond ring is a beautiful moment, unless you bought the ring from a sketchy website for $50. A woman was showing off her giant new rock to her coworkers the next morning. She stopped smiling when someone pointed out that the ring had turned her entire finger a deep, swampy shade of green overnight. 54. Trying to pay for a $2 beer with Bitcoin is the ultimate tech bro flex that never works. A guy held up the line for 10 minutes trying to find a signal to transfer his crypto assets. The bartender finally lost his patience, slammed a $5 bill on the counter from the tip jar, and told him the drink was on the house just to make him leave. 55. Walking around the mall with hands full of designer shopping bags is a status symbol, but you have to put something inside them. A sudden gust of wind caught a guy posing with 5 different Louis Vuitton bags. The wind blew the empty, lightweight bags across the parking lot, revealing they were just stuffed with crumpled newspaper. 56. A man in a tailored suit tried to follow a resident into the elevator of a luxury penthouse building, pretending he lived on the top floor. He confidently pressed the button for the penthouse, but nothing happened because he did not have the keycard. He had to awkwardly ride up to the second floor and get off at the gym while the resident judged him. 57. There is a small X stitched onto the back vent of a new suit jacket that is supposed to be cut before you wear it. A guy showed up to a job interview acting like he wore suits every day. The interviewer spent the whole meeting staring at the white thread holding his jacket closed, signaling that he had bought it that morning and had no idea how to dress. 58. The digital nomad lifestyle looks great on Instagram, but the reality is often less glamorous. A guy posted a photo of his laptop on the beach with the caption, "Office for the day." He forgot that the sun glare on his screen was perfectly reflective. You could clearly see he was not working on a spreadsheet, but was actually just staring at his own desktop wallpaper. 59. Threatening to call your legal team during a minor parking dispute is a classic power move for people with zero power. A man screamed, "I am calling my lawyer," at a meter maid. He dialed a number on speakerphone for maximum effect, but instead of a lawyer, a robotic voice announced, "Please add credit to your prepaid account to complete this call." 60. Bringing a date to a members-only golf course requires you to actually be a member. A guy drove his date past the guard shack, waving confidently like he belonged there. The guard immediately jumped in a golf cart, chased them down the fairway with flashing lights, and escorted them off the property while the date hid her face in shame. 61. Refilling a fancy glass water bottle with tap water is a common trick, but hygiene matters. A fitness influencer was sipping from a distinct, expensive Voss water bottle at the gym to match her outfit. The illusion shattered when everyone saw green algae growing on the inside of the glass because she'd not washed the bottle in 3 months. 62. A young entrepreneur invited potential investors to his estate for a pool party, implying he owned the massive property. Everything was going great until the actual homeowners came home early from their vacation. It turned out he was just the house sitter, and they fired him on the spot in front of the people he was trying to scam for money. 63. Renting a Tesla to look eco-friendly and rich is popular, but you should know how the car works. A driver pulled his rented Model S up to a gas pump at a busy station. He spent 15 minutes circling the car, searching for a gas cap, and trying to jam the nozzle into the charging port, while a crowd of people filmed him laughing. 64. Wearing a Bluetooth earpiece makes you look important, like you are always on a business call. One guy was loudly negotiating a $1 million deal while waiting in line at the bank. The bank teller interrupted him to ask for his ID, and the earpiece fell out of his ear, revealing it wasn't even connected to a phone. It was just a piece of plastic. 65. A woman tried to return a heavily worn designer dress, claiming she never wore it and it was defective. She was screaming at the manager about customer service and her status. The manager calmly held up the dress, pointed to a massive wine stain on the back, and showed her the Instagram photo she posted wearing it at a party the night before. 66. "Do you know who my father is the worst sentence you can say to a police officer. A college student got pulled over for speeding in a sports car and tried to use his dad's name to get out of the ticket. The officer smiled and said, "Yes, I know him. He is the one who called us to report this car stolen an hour ago." 67. Some people buy empty champagne bottles on eBay just to decorate their apartments. A guy had a shelf full of Dom Perignon bottles to impress a girl. She playfully grabbed one to look at the label, and it was so light she almost threw it over her shoulder. He had to admit he bought the empty glass for $10 just for the aesthetic. 68. Trying to use a fake ID that says you are 25 when you look 16 is brave. Doing it at a casino is stupid. A teenager in a suit slapped his ID on the table at the High Rollers blackjack pit. The pit boss looked at the ID, bent it in half until it snapped, and told him to go wait in the car before they called his parents. 69. A man was bragging about his kitchen's imported Italian marble countertops during a housewarming party. He set a hot pot of chili down to serve his guests. The marble instantly bubbled and melted onto the pot, revealing it was just cheap plastic vinyl wrap stuck over plywood. 70. Using a filter to make your economy seat look like business class requires skill. A traveler posted a carefully cropped photo of his legs, stretched out with a glass of orange juice. He was exposed when his seat neighbor posted a wider angle of the same row, showing him cramped in the middle seat, holding a plastic cup of juice from the beverage cart. 71. Remote work has created a new kind of fake wealth, the Zoom background flex. One CEO was conducting a serious video interview in front of what looked like a massive mahogany library. He leaned back too far in his chair and clipped through the green screen, revealing an unmade bed and a poster of a kitten hanging by one corner. 72. Cheap veneers are the fastest way to look like a cartoon character. A guy got a budget Hollywood smile overseas that was so bright white it practically glowed in the dark. He bit into a caramel apple at a fall festival, and his new teeth stayed stuck in the apple while he panicked with a gummy, toothless mouth. 73. A guy posted a photo of a helicopter dashboard, implying he was the pilot flying his friends to the Hamptons. An actual pilot zoomed in on the gauges in the photo and commented that the altimeter read 0 and the parking brake was engaged, meaning he was just sitting in a stationary chopper at a county fair. 74. A self-styled VIP tried to breeze past the line at a club by flashing a QR code on his phone, claiming it was an exclusive owner's pass. The bouncer scanned it with his own phone, and the screen loudly beeped. It wasn't a ticket. It was a link to an expired coupon for a free burrito at Chipotle. 75. Streetwear culture is brutal if you do not know your details. A teenager walked into a sneaker convention wearing unreleased Jordans that he swore were a prototype from the factory. A crowd gathered, but not to admire them. They were pointing out that the logo on the side was doing a full split instead of a jump, proving they were terrible fakes. 76. Ordering the most expensive caviar on the menu is a power move, provided you actually like fish eggs. A man ordered the beluga service to impress his date, spooning a massive pile onto a cracker. He gagged immediately, spit the expensive delicacy into a cloth napkin, and spent the rest of the date drinking water to wash away the taste. 77. There is a satisfying clank sound when you drop a heavy metal credit card on the table. One guy tried to replicate this with a plastic debit card he had covered in a gold metal sticker. He dropped it from a height to make a statement, but it just fluttered down like a piece of paper and landed silently in the dip bowl. 78. Hiring a fake bodyguard is the ultimate act of insecurity. A celebrity influencer was walking through the mall with a massive security guard in a suit to draw attention. The illusion shattered when the guard stopped walking, checked his watch, and loudly asked, "Hey man, my 2 hours are up. Can you Venmo me the $50 now?" 79. Tipping with a consultation card instead of money is a great way to get chased out of a restaurant. A guy left a business card that said, "How to make 7 figures," on the tray instead of a cash tip. The waitress ran after him into the parking lot, handed it back, and told him she didn't need a life coach. She needed to pay her rent. 80. Live streaming. A tour of your summer house requires timing. A guy was walking through a stunning beachside villa, telling his followers he just bought the place for cash. Suddenly, the front door unlocked, and the Airbnb host walked in with fresh towels, asking him why he hadn't checked out by the 11 a.m. deadline like he promised. 81. Building a champagne tower is a high-risk activity for amateurs. A party host stacked 50 glasses in a pyramid to look like Gatsby. He tried to pour the first bottle from too high up, and his sleeve caught the rim of the top glass. The entire tower collapsed in slow motion, destroying $3,000 worth of rented crystal in 2 seconds. 82. A man tried to impress a car salesman by demanding to test drive the showroom model, a car worth 200 grand. He sat in the driver's seat, adjusted the mirrors, and reached for the gear shift. He pulled it so hard he ripped the knob right off. He slowly got out of the car, put the knob on the seat, and walked away without a word. 83. Using contouring makeup to paint fake abs on your stomach is a risky strategy for a pool party. A guy looked ripped while standing on the diving board, posing for photos. Then he jumped in. When he surfaced, the brown makeup was running down his torso in streaks, making him look like he was melting or had a terrible disease. 84. Claiming your car is a rare Japanese import works until someone checks the VIN number. A guy at a car meet was bragging about his right-hand drive conversion, saying it came straight from Tokyo. A mechanic looked under the hood and pointed out a sticker that clearly said "Manufactured in Ohio," proving it was just a former Postal Service delivery vehicle. 85. Trying to unhook the velvet rope yourself at a club is the hallmark of a desperate person. A guy tried to casually unclip the barrier while the bouncer was looking away. The bouncer turned around, grabbed the guy by the back of his collar like a kitten, and physically lifted him back over the rope onto the sidewalk while the line cheered. 86. A literary genius was hosting a video podcast in front of a massive wall of books to show off his intelligence. He got passionate during an argument and slammed his fist on the desk. The vibration caused his library to fall forward. It was a cardboard prop, and it hit him squarely on the head, ending the stream instantly. 87. Ordering the market-price seafood without asking the price first is financial suicide. A man ordered the giant lobster thermidor, acting nonchalant. When the bill arrived, his eyes bulged out of his head. He was overheard at the register, quietly asking the manager if they offered any sort of monthly payment plan for the dinner. 88. Tagging a luxury brand in a post with "Thanks for the gift" implies a sponsorship that does not exist. An influencer posted a photo with a new designer bag, thanking the brand for the collaboration. The official brand account commented below, "We have no record of sending this to you, and that bag is a counterfeit model we never produced." 89. Driving a convertible with a cheap toupee is a disaster waiting to happen. A distinguished-looking older gentleman was cruising down the highway with the top down, feeling the wind in his hair. Suddenly, the wind won. His hairpiece lifted up like a hatch and flew into the back seat. He had to pull over on the shoulder to retrieve his dignity. 90. A driver slapped a chrome V12 badge on the side of his quiet electric hybrid to make it look more aggressive. He was exposed at a charging station when a real car enthusiast pointed out that V12 engines generally require high-octane gasoline, not a charging cable plugged into the front fender. 91. A tech entrepreneur was pitching his revolutionary new voice-activated smart home system to a room full of investors. He confidently commanded, "System, dim the lights." Nothing happened. He yelled it again. Suddenly, a tired voice from behind the curtain shouted back, "I'm trying, the switch is stuck," revealing his AI was just his intern with a dimmer switch. 92. Wearing sunglasses inside a dark nightclub is cool until you can't see the floor. One guy was strutting through the VIP section in pitch-black designer shades, ignoring everyone. He didn't see the single step down to the dance floor. He tripped, flew forward, and landed face-first into a cooler full of ice, losing his glasses and his reputation instantly. 93. A woman staged a photo of a massive bouquet of red roses with a note saying, "From my secret admirer," to make her ex jealous. Her followers immediately noticed that the distinct handwriting on the romantic note was identical to her own handwriting from a journaling post she made just 2 days earlier. 94. Revving your engine in a tunnel is a car enthusiast tradition. A guy in a flashy sports coupe dropped a gear to hear the exhaust echo. He didn't realize a police cruiser was driving 2 cars behind him with its lights off. The echo was immediately replaced by a siren, and he got pulled over before he even exited the tunnel. 95. A wannabe rapper rented a mansion for a music video shoot, throwing fake money everywhere in the pool. He forgot that pool filters are powerful. The paper bills got sucked into the intake, clogged the pump, and caused the pool to overflow into the landscaped garden. He lost his deposit and had to pay for a new pump system. 96. A guy kept adjusting his suit cuffs to show off diamond cufflinks that were the size of golf balls. He was gesturing wildly during a story when one of the plastic gems popped out of the setting and landed in his soup. It floated on the surface, proving it was definitely not a rock. 97. A fitness model was doing a photo shoot at a public gym, hogging 3 machines at once for content. She was pretending to lift a heavy barbell for the camera. A real bodybuilder walked over, picked up the bar with one hand to move it, revealing to everyone that the heavy metal plates were actually hollow plastic props she brought herself. 98. There is a difference between a penthouse and the top-floor apartment. A guy bragged about his penthouse view for weeks. When his friends finally visited, they realized his penthouse was just a tiny studio apartment next to the noisy elevator machinery room. The only view he had was of a brick wall and a pigeon nest. 99. A self-proclaimed art critic was at a gallery, loudly analyzing the deep, tragic meaning of a small red object on the wall. He called it a commentary on modern anger. The curator walked over and politely asked him to step away from the building's fire alarm pole station. 100. A crypto whale claimed he lost the keys to his digital wallet containing millions, which is why he was currently sleeping on a friend's couch. He kept this story up for months. It fell apart when his friend found his hardware wallet under the cushion. It wasn't a crypto device, it was just a USB drive filled with pirated movies from 2009. 101. Finally, the ultimate humiliation. A guy parked his rented Lamborghini in a handicap spot to run into a store, thinking the rules didn't apply to him. He came out to find 2 things: a massive ticket on the windshield and a crowd of people cheering as a tow truck lifted the low-slung car, scraping the expensive front bumper all the way up the ramp. Money talks, wealth whispers, but insecurity screams. You absolutely thought of one specific person while watching this. Don't protect them. Tell us the single most embarrassing flex you have ever witnessed in real life in the comments below. If this video saved you from buying a fake Gucci belt, hit like and subscribe.